Yo, looks like the bits are flowing. Just waiting for YouTube to light up. YouTube's green. Let's just test the audio. Just ate a lot of salty stuff, so my mouth is a little dry. And it's not good to drink too soon. The audio. Just ate a lot of eat because it messes up digestion, even though I did cheat and drink a little bit of water. Or like, you know, half a glass, but you know. So, yesterday was the first stream I missed in a while. The thing is, when it gets this late in the evening, like, I don't know if my relative's gonna get home now or in 3 hours or what. So, anyway, I just, yeah, I wanted to do the stream yesterday, but I took some notes about it, so maybe if the stream goes short enough, we'll check it out. So this one's just going to be about tech stuff. So I'm trying to do at least one tech to one domestic abuse and workplace, you know, blah, 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 depressing topics. So you saw here sleep and joy deprivation. That was the last stream in the Escaping Domestic Abuse playlist. And yeah. So on the weekends, I did actually sleep until about 7 yesterday and today, which is extremely late. So that was nice, but yeah, just the thing is, like, I go to bed pretty early, but then when I get interrupted at night or at like 3 in the morning or something, it almost like adds an hour or two onto my sleeping. So it definitely takes time. So the updates I did were I added notes. So if you've used Mastodon, you can see that on profile. You can put private notes about a user. So this is a similar idea. You can have notes for each item in a collection of tweets. So if you have 2 collections with the same tweet, they'll have different notes. So, I mean, one could correlate that, but I decided to put the note at the collection level, and I'll show that in a second. And then something I already had done in the ViewModel level was put the reply to tweets, sort of like a quote tweet nested, but I just made that render. And I found that if you had a long thread, they rendered all the way down, which is really cool, but it made the display really big, so I put a limit to max depth 1. And then I made it so if it's deeper than that, then it puts a link to the thread. So basically like the official Twitter UI. And then, what's the third thing I said I did? Right, so then I started looking into typed ViewModel. If you've been watching, you've seen that it's just been like a big map of stuff. So let's just jump right into it, even though we're probably like 7 minutes into the stream by now, because I seem to talk extremely slow. Okay, 3.5 minutes in, not too bad. But still, some people could have communicated a lot during that time. All right, so first thing, so this is a tweet collection. Swipe all 2, so there's a JSON file to back this, and I compiled it from my Notes app. So I took my content scraper scripts off because the UIs for Reddit, YouTube, and Twitter have all changed a little bit, and they just error out, so they're not quite perfect. So I've got to update them a little bit. So I've just got the Notes app and that RSS app that just tracks when you go to bed and makes a chart. So on the Notes app, every day I have a new note that I start by convention, and then let me pull it up here. And then the swipe functionality in the app. So every tweet has this swipe to note function. You can see in the status bar it calls the function swipe to note. I think it's just under Twitter UI.js. Or I can open it in the editor. Tweets UI, my bad. So swipe tweet to Notes app. So it uses a Toast, or yeah. The library that I use for Toast is Sweet Alerts 2. And it just says annotation to swipe, and then it uses note card format. So that takes the model and basically puts it into a formatted string, and then it makes a request to the Notes app. So using fetch, a get request, it should be post, but I just like tested it through the browser and I never changed it to post yet. So anyway, you click that in the tweet and then it'll make a post to this app on the back end. And you can see it does some intent / prepend text to note ID. And it uses the current date. And it says should create equals true. So the note doesn't need to exist. So the first thing I swipe in a day. So you can see it's just today's date, swipe, and then it's a list of them. So the newest one is up on top. So then there's a search API in the Notes app. And basically I use the search API. I use the JavaScript console, so this isn't ported to Python yet. But I just search for every note that has a tweet URL in it, and then I parse the URL, got the ID out of it, and they can have multiple tweet IDs in it as well. So like this one has 2 different IDs. So these 2 were both part of a Zoom prison theme that I saw. So these 2 tweets were both listed in the collection with the same note text, if that makes sense. So I mean, one could do a little bit better. Like, you know, maybe parse out, you know, to compress it. Like, there are certain conventions that I've used that have changed over time, like putting the tweet URL and then the tweet text. So, you know, one could conceivably, you know, replace those out to just boil it down to this text. And then also, if it was found in multiple notes, then it just concats the note content together. So in some cases, there'll be like date, text, and then another date, more text. I don't know if we have any on the first screen here. But yeah, so, you know, basically, if a note has multiple tweets, that case is covered, and if the tweet is present in multiple notes, that case is covered. All right. And then how this is implemented is just in the template. If we have note text, tweet note, I mean, then just add this extra section here. It's like super janky, obviously. You know, I just put the style right in there. I should give it a class, you know. But the thing is, it works, right? And this is just serving my own workflow. And then a final thing is it, you know, if there's a deleted, suspended, or blocked tweet, you can see in the output. Deleted tweet, deleted tweet. Sometimes they're suspended or blocked. So yeah, and then it's paginated just like everything else. So yeah, that's gonna be hella nice, because this is something called swipe. You've got a swipe file, and so it's like if you're a copywriter, you've got ads that you think, you know, that catch your attention, and so you save it and put some notes on it. So that is super nice. You know, that's a tool that I have, as, you know, for a while I've got to practice all these different skills, including copywriting. So yeah, that is that. I just did that in like an hour or two this morning. And yeah, again, I can only code on Saturday and Sunday, and maybe Wednesday if I'm bad. Like, I really can't afford it. It's, you know, $5+ a day to go to the coffee shop and do that. So, especially on the weekends, like I go to 2 different coffee shops because I don't like to sit in one spot for like 6 or 7 hours. And like especially Sunday, the library doesn't open till noon, and I'm out of here at like, you know, as close to 5:30 as possible. Like I said, today and yesterday I did sleep until like 6:30 today and 7 yesterday, which is like pretty late, but obviously I needed the sleep. I still don't ever use an alarm, so that's good. You know, except for like maybe like a week at a time when I'm training myself if I get really off. But right now, like, my relative used to like come home and be in bed at 9, and that was totally fine. But now, you know, it's annoying. I wanted to go to bed at like 8 or 8:30, but now it's like he gets home like no earlier than 9, and we're still in like, you know, fall back days too. So it's like, you know, 9 is what used to be 10. So it's like really, like, it's annoying because when I lived in, you know, the Bay Area my first year, I would be the guy who came home from the bar super late every night. And, well, it was a big Victorian house, so I don't know if people heard me come home. Like, my bedroom was right above the kitchen. I never heard anything, like, in the mornings. But you never know. Maybe other people were more sensitive, and I was just, like, dull and drunk, you know, hungover, whatever. So, I don't know. But, you know, I needed the sleep. And, you know, like, my weeks have just been getting, like, so blurry. You know, it's like, you know, it's like I feel good that much time of the day, then that much time of the day, then that much time of the day. And it's like this well that you, like, you know, it's like a gradual beat down. And then you got, like, you know, the devil with his pitchfork down here. Low vibration. But yeah, so tweet notes. That's going to be a hella nice feature. You know, I've got a lot of ideas for how to, like, do more integration with different types of collections throughout the app. Like, actually even liked tweets and bookmarks I see as special types of collections. So my workflow right now with bookmarks is basically, since I just want to, like, have as much time as possible to code when I'm out of the house, because I can't actually code here for political reasons. Go back a few videos, I can explain that. And yeah, so like while I'm here and I can't code, there is some stuff I can do, like maybe go through bookmarks. And my workflow is to swipe to note that asks me for a note, and then I type it in, and then I click minus, and that deletes my bookmark. So then I just go, I should go bottom to top. Maybe there's a way I can reverse this list, but it's paginated on the server. So I have to fetch it all and then reverse it and do my own pagination, which, if it was in a collection, if I automatically made bookmarks into a collection that synced every 5 minutes or whatever in the background, which I've done, I'm saying too much, and yeah. So it is something I could do, long story short. So yeah, that's something that I can do here. Another thing is review the videos and put those cards on the top right, wherever it is, the top right of the screen. No, that's, yeah, you get what I'm trying to do. The top right of the screen, as you guys see it, as I see it when I'm reviewing it. And then at the end screen, you can suggest videos. And I'm putting each of these videos on 1 to 2 playlists, so I could suggest that playlist. So doing that sort of social media content, blah, 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 boring stuff. Because basically at most I can code 3 days a week. So that leaves 4 days a week to try to figure something out to do. Oh, well, you could get a job with with those 4 days. No, go back to finding a job with a record of domestic violence, which, as I always have to say, it's a fabrication by a former employer who knew I couldn't defend myself in court. But it doesn't mean it doesn't pop up in the background check. And, yeah, so this weekend, there's a place I thought it would be okay to work, but then I was kind of, because they're obviously short on employees, and it's the kind of work I would normally do. I've been a mover before in 2019 and 20 and 21 a little bit, or mostly just 2019 and maybe the end of 18. I did moving, and yeah. So anyway, guess what? One of the 3 reasons the property manager named as reasons that people don't get hired. It was no boo-hoo, oh, nobody wants to work. It was the people that apply, a lot of times don't pass the background check. Frickin' every job background checks, and is going to find this history of alleged violence, which is, made official by the judge's order because I wasn't there to defend myself, right? So, not to mention, the sabotage reference checks before that, which led me to tweet at them, which led them to, do this whole allegations of violence thing. Oh, I'm so scared I changed my votes at work. Oh, boo-hoo. That's your boss if you work at that company. Frickin' crybaby. You can go back and, that case is, I haven't even read it. I've just kind of seen little parts of it, but it's hilarious. Anyway, so I've got to find something to do with 4 days a week, and setting up the social media is, with cards. Even right there, I could put a card link back to that video. And I've got something 400 videos on this channel, and, I'm sure they get better with time, but man, I hate watching myself. I think everyone has that. I can do it, and it's actually not that bad when I do it. And a lot of these times I'm just doing talks and teaching stuff myself, especially the whiteboard videos. Less so this one, because this is just a status update, but the escaping domestic violence stuff, it's never scripted. I just have so much research, and maybe I'll set some high level items that I want to hit. Anyway, yeah, the one that I wanted to do yesterday, it's going to be a banger. It's just by the time I wanted to do it was 6 or 7, like it is now. And it's just at any moment, drunk relative could get here, and then that means I've got to sit down here and talk. And when I do that, he needs to be, I don't want to sit here and gossip. It's just you'll see what happens if I'm ever down here talking and he gets home. It's, you know, a narcissist is an emotionally stunted child. They're like stunted at 5 years old. So you can imagine what a 5-year-old sibling who's pissed off at you and wants to, you know, wants to hurt you however they can. They're just like, you make me feel bad, so you're bad. I'm going to make you feel bad. So you can picture what might happen. And that's like, you know, stuff like that is like what these escaping domestic violence streams are about. I just want to get out of this. Oh, so you're just trying to do a little grift of domestic violence and get us to give you some money. Right. So yeah, anyway, so tweet notes works, collections works, you know, change the structure to accommodate the notes. So nested replies, that would be, let's just go to the tweet timeline and find some examples. So now you see we've always had quote tweets, but we've got now replying to. And then, so this is an author thread. It's like where the author keeps replying to themselves. So sometimes what would happen is, you know, if you have like, you know, if they do like 7 or 8 updates, it would nest like 7 or 8 deep. So now I just limit it to 1 deep. I do it in a lighter color text with a lighter border. So that's pretty cool. Like, I do want to actually get a view closer to the official UI. Like, if, you know, like group replies and stuff together, you know, they do it with the, they've got like, you know, tweet 1, align, tweet 2, align. Whereas like what I have is just like the avatar with text, and then the avatar with text, and then, you know, theoretically the avatar with text keeps getting deeper. And then this one, like this one is actually this. This one with a circle is actually this. And this one with a square is actually this. So it's nothing too hard. It's just like I've got to prioritize doing it, and how important is it to me. Sort of like, let's incrementally get there. So I'm just looking at this. Like, this is pretty cool. Like, I still go back to the official UI a lot and just like look at patterns of what I'm looking at and what I don't have in this app. So you can see, you know, reply to a reply with a quote inside, right? So how do I realize that? So there's nothing in the template. My first poke was doing it in the template, but def tweet model. Oops. So yeah, I'm not even using get yet, so I'm just like copying functions around, all this stuff. I don't need a senior eng to hold my hand. It's just like, I have an incredible stack and memory when it comes to code. I've been doing this for like 22 years, so it's just like I can just do stuff that I know are terrible practice. It's fine. So something that I'm doing that's terrible practice is just like using a map for my view. Well, it's not really terrible practice. I think even iOS just uses a map for its view model. I think. I'm probably wrong. But what I've started doing today is just, you know, like the last thing I did at the library was just go through the list of all the different fields that I use, and like here are public metrics, non-public metrics. I've got some retweet stuff, some media stuff, and so what I've done is I figured out Python has something called data class, Python 3. So I can just put all the fields, the required fields first, and then the optional fields second. It took me a little bit to find this typing.optional and typing.list. But yeah, so then just like, I don't actually use it yet because I've got to change everywhere from map syntax to dot syntax with an object. or cast the whatever, cast, it'd just be better. You can cast the object to a dict and then it still works. But yeah, basically I just have try to convert the thing into the strongly typed, and if it doesn't work, then it prints out a message, but we don't actually use it yet. So that's where you actually see this error populating tweet model. So I already know what that is. It's because this is actually a dict rather than the public metrics object, and this thing calls for an optional public metrics. So when we try to type check it, it's going to be dict. And same thing, for like card and media item list, etc. So yeah, that's just to like help make it a little bit easier to keep track of what's in the views, because then these same type of model functions are used for tweets, for Mastodon, because they all share the same view code. So Mastodon model, see, it has the same structure here. So what I would do then is just import the same ViewModel class, and then we'd get the same type checking. If something changed, all implementations would show the error until it's unchanged. So it's just something to make like testing the ViewModel translation a little bit less tedious. Because like if you can use type checking to avoid basic errors, A+. But if you can start off with the map while you're still figuring stuff out, then it's good to start off with the map while you're figuring it out. But yeah, now I'm going on, like 4 implementations that use the same templates, and so now it's actually valuable because like I'm not remembering what implementations have what. Like if you go into the sidebar, for example, like I know this is kind of crap, but it works. If tweet user or Mastodon user, then give a compose form. If feed user, then give, following. But like meanwhile, so something I just added was following and followers for Twitter. So so following, followers. So all it is a basic list right now. But yeah, totally forgot about that. Yeah, nested replies. So there is one interesting thing with nested replies that I want to show. So if we go view in thread, you can see the expanded status. It says mark reply. This is like by far the jankiest. Oh, where is it? Full convo. So I don't know if it's because it is a nested reply, or I tested this I think before I limited the depth. All right, interesting. View in thread. Interesting. But yeah, this is by far the jankiest thing that I've done, and I've got a hack note inside of the code to implement this better. Let's see if I can find one that works. Specifically, I have to click the view in thread. see if it's an issue of the CSS. Interesting. So anyway, what's supposed to be happening is this tweet that ends with 440 is supposed to be highlighted. This one is supposed to be highlighted. Oh, I see why. Because I gave it the wrong parameter name in the template. Mark to reply. There we go. Yay! So yeah, now when you click onto the thread, if it has marked reply and the ID of the tweet is the same as marked reply, then it'll just give it a different background color. Works in dark mode as well. So the Twitter official app does something like this, which is just the one that you're focused on is bigger. So like there's, like I know specifically from the scraping script, there's a timeline tweet and then what I called like display tweet. So it's like the display tweet would be this one. It's like it's bigger and it's in focus and these are timeline. But then also through JavaScript, if you click on this one, it would change the marked tweet, the display tweet. You know, maybe like on the scraper script, I might have not given it the best name. It's like, again, I gave it a name, stayed consistent, it worked. And yeah, like something else that, you know, it would do since it's single page app and which what I might want to do because of caching reasons is have it use a hash marker and do it on the client side. But I'm trying to minimally use JavaScript here. And actually what's beyond the hash side is not sent to the server. I think you can force it, but generally it's not sent to the server. It's a client side state keeper, which actually would normally go to a anchor of that name if it exists. So yeah. So obviously before I release it, you know, I'll go over and I'll QA and find this bug again. So nested replies with marked reply work. And then we looked at the typed view model. So the data class is built into Python, and data class validate is a third-party thing. And it's not the most popular third-party thing, but the other one that I found was called like Pydantic. And since I'm using Windows S mode, which is like a secure, super lockdown, signed binary only type thing, Pydantic seems to load a DLL file, which is native code. And so, you know, it gives me a device guard error, so I can't use Pydantic. So data class type validator works. So pretty much I can only use native code that's in the Microsoft Store version of Python, and anything else has to be done in Python itself. So this class is nice and simple, and it seems it works with what I've thrown at it so far, which is the extent of the complexity that I'm going to need. Class tweet model. So it supports required fields, optional fields with different types. I have not tried optional list yet, but I'm guessing it's going to work because there's actually this type of construct in its test and in the example it gives in the README. And then finally, you know, one of the very first things that I, you know, ran into was, you know, so we've got the quote tweets and reply tweets. And so what do we want to do? Like we actually recursively nest those inside of the tweet model function, which, so when we nest a reply, that's actually why I went back here. So when we nest a reply, we actually use the tweet ViewModel function, and we increment the reply depth. So reply depth equals reply depth plus 1. And then here we say if reply depth is less than 1. So this should be a tunable parameter. So we should say like maybe 2, 3. I think 2 might be reasonable. But I actually want to just, I want to look at getting something closer to the official UI's, threading replies together. So I figure a good path to get there is to get the ViewModel strongly typed to where we can see everything that's there and easily refactor, because we're going to have to change every implementation. So we're going to want to get it, first leave it as is, get it strongly typed, bring that typing into all the implementations, and then once it's consistent, then we can get the threading logic together and then be more confident that it'll work in all the implementations. So yeah. What else is there? That's what I've done today. Yeah, I mean, yesterday was a coding day, but I was still just like so spent. And another thing too is like, coding, we've got 7 days a week. If I can code, the last time I had coded was Wednesday. So coming back and coding on Saturday, that was super hard. So what did I do? I did like a bunch of research on some technical topics, and the problem with doing this streaming in public is, aside from possible connection issues, which haven't seemed to be an issue, and yes, sometimes people do calls in coffee shops. The thing is, though, when I've streamed from a coffee shop, the background music gives me copyright claims. Hasn't given me a strike, but I guess if I keep doing it, it basically said, you can delete the video, or you can delete this part of the audio, or you can, try some experimental cut out the background noise thing that takes like an hour to do and doesn't actually work good. So, effectively can't do it for that reason at coffee shops, and then why not the library? Because the library then is super quiet. And yes, again, sometimes people take phone calls, but everyone notices, don't care, maybe I'm just hanging on to the illusion of living in a high trust society. The thing that people tell homeless people to do is always to be an obnoxious parasite. And if someone, you can hear when someone's doing a phone call, if they're doing a job interview, it's one thing, I think everyone can understand, someone who comes to the library and does a job does a job interview, assuming they're not doing it multiple times, because there's always the same people there as well, especially the employees. If you one time come in and you have to take a call there and you do it one time, fine. But if you're doing it a couple times in a week, you're not on grace at that point anymore. You're literally abusing the system at that point. So, it's on the bus from the Sunset into Financial District, there's this bus that the last stop is, 19th. Is it 19th? And then it goes through the park. And it's just a long, long, long journey. And the next stop is literally the Financial District. So it's 20 or 30 minutes of no stop. It's the Elite Muni. And the NX, the N Express, N Judah Express. N Judah is a train. NX is a express bus. And, one time there was somebody who did a call there. Out of every day. It was everybody's sacred sanctuary, a bunch of professionals. One guy has the audacity to do a call one day, and everybody is just it was a very tense thing, you know. It's hard to explain, but you know, if the guy was doing a call every day, we'd probably throw him off the bus. But you know, like one time, okay, fine, whatever. You know, so it's like the library is a similar thing. Like, yeah, technically, you could, you know, it's probably more valid to do it on a Muni than on than at the, you know, more valid to do it at the Muni, less inappropriate to do it on the Muni than in the library. But you know, you don't want to abuse nice things. You know what I'm saying? So. Oh, so you'd rather just stay homeless than abuse the nice thing? Yes, I would rather stay homeless than abuse nice things. Call me crazy, but... So this is really the only place I can do streams. And yeah, so today's Sunday, so guess what? We've got more domestic abuse, and, you know, maybe I could do like a tech talk or something during the week, but you know, I've just got to figure it out. So I've done 2 weeks now of not coding every single day, which, you know, I used to just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I used to just 7 days a week go to coffee shops, and that's just too expensive to do right now. You know, $5 a day, you know, we go from 35 a week to 15 a week. Someone throw in 20 bucks, 4 of you throw in 20 bucks a month on Patreon, and then I can code every single day again. Till then, now I've got to shut it off until Wednesday and just do the boring, depressing domestic abuse streams until I can get out of domestic abuse. Like, am I throwing a tantrum? Yes. Am I complaining? I'm offering solutions, so it's okay to complain if you offer a solution. Like when you go to court, you make a complaint and you have a remedy in mind. Have I ever claimed to be a victim or acted like a victim? No. However, could what I'm saying be perceived as being a victim? Yes, but I can't help people's perception. I mean, I can do little explanations like that to convince them otherwise, but if they want to see me as acting like a victim, then that's what they're going to see, you know. Some people want to see the worst possible thing about you. So yeah, this isn't GitHub open source, but it's like, when it's done, I'll release a version to Glitch open source. So this is where a pretty old version is at this point. glitch.com/Hogumathi. That name is in the title. So, yeah. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you're pumped about the new version coming out. Go ahead and try the old version. You can see the code to make sure that it's not doing anything weird. You can fork your own version, so you're using your own Twitter API keys. So that's a pretty cool way of deploying it. So yeah, looking forward to seeing you soon. Bye.